Alright, so hello YouTubers, today I'm reviewing this, which is the newly released, at least in the UK at the time of recording, Sonic Prime New York City figure collection. So yeah, now this, compared to the other figures, this is in the 2.5-inch scale. Which, yeah, it's interesting because the other figures, the main figures, they're in a 5-inch scale compared to the regular 4-inch scale, but with these ones, it does mean, I've just got classic Tails there, it does mean that they are technically in scale with the other 2.5-inch figures, which is interesting that these are, so, and the other ones aren't, so yeah, it's interesting with that. What's the answer behind it? I'm sure someone's going to have the answer behind it, but anyway, let's just get into and review it. So we'll start with New York City Sonic, which is basically just modern Sonic. If we zoom out the camera, there we go. So, yeah, he's basically just, for the most part, just a modern Sonic figure with some slight differences, mainly, obviously, the shoes here, his New York City shoes, which I do quite like the design. I think these are my favourite design out of the shoes that he wears in this, and also on the gloves and that as well. We've got the little devices that 9 puts on Sonic to stop him from basically glitching out. Other than that, yeah, not a lot to really say about him. He is just standard Sonic for the most part. So at least it is just a more different 2.5-inch variant than, you know, just a slightly different pose or expression on his face. So, but yeah, for the most part, he is basically the same. And if you do have the other, you know, standard modern Sonic, then this could very easily in that fitting to where the point before he gets these shoes and that. So yeah, well, other than that, just a standard modern Sonic. He's very nicely detailed and that, and it is nice to have the little touches that make it specifically from New Yoke. But yeah, nothing else really about this. Nice sharp detailing, no paint bleeds or anything like that, or chips. So well done in that regard. And if we just standard modern, if we compare him here to his counterpart here, which is also released at the same time, you can see obviously the level of detailing. It's not that hugely different, to be honest. This one does have a lack of paint and that on his stomach, but yeah, the company Wild Brain, who makes the other Sonic Prime figures, because, like, yeah, they're cheaper, but also they're cheaper for a reason. These are much more high quality, but also you're paying for that as well, which we'll get onto at the end of the video. We'll turn to the accessory next, which is this little base with the part of the crystal in it, which actually kind of slightly sticks out in that from it. But it is on a peg. Thankfully, it is packaged loosely in the box. But yeah, the fact that you can put it on the peg here, if it ever goes in, again, because I can't bloody see what I'm doing, unfortunately. It is a bit fiddly. There we go. So yeah, it's nice that one, it includes the crystal with the base, and the crystal is actually removable. It's just hollow on that on the inside. But yeah, it's a nice little accessory to actually, you know, have included with this. And I imagine if other sets and acts of this, you know, get released, they'll include other parts and acts of the crystal possibly. Though I doubt they'll be able to make them fit together. Turning to Rusty Rose, which this is a really nice figure. I do like the almost metallic metal looking finish and that to it. Is really nicely detailed there. The only problem is her legs bend out like this, so unfortunately, while you can sort of stand it up, this leg is always basically pointing to one side. You can't really stand it up flat, unfortunately. But still, it does make up with it with the nice detail and the actual, you know, rust on Rusty Rose. You can just see there sort of catching the light. There we go. But all the little details of the little bolts and the rust and the parts and that, which look like, you know, at times she's barely holding together. But yeah, the fact that they did actually put a silver finish and that on this is really nice. And you can see at this point in time, she is under the Chaos Council control because her eye is red. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a variant where her eye turns pink at some point when she's free or something like that, or green. But again, I get the figure out, if we compare it, like, just look at the difference in these two. Whoa! And that one fell down the journey. But yeah, just looking at the difference, like this particularly feels like a knockoff compared to the detail on this. Like this, just using grey plastic, mostly unpainted. On this one, I don't think they even... Yeah, on this one, they just made that completely silver. Didn't even bother painting the eye. And particularly on the back and that. This is like basically showing a massive difference in that between the two. This has the bare minimum amount of paints and that on it, whereas this one doesn't. Because this could actually look decent, and that the sculpt is actually pretty good on this one. But unfortunately, they just haven't bothered to paint most of it. They just left it in solid colours, and just look at the difference. So, yeah, massive comparison there, which does really show. And finally, Tails 9. So, yeah, now, unlike his 5-inch counterpart, this does not have the fur sort of texture on it. In fact, none of them do on this, but you can kind of forgive it for the scale and that of it, and it does look really good. On this one, they've given the tails more of a metallic finish, which is something they didn't do on the 5-inch figure. That one, it's just grey plastic, though again, depending on the lighting, it kind of does match and kind of doesn't match. But on this one, they've done the thing also where they have all 9 tails and that convulsing to one big massive tail like he does in the actual show, which is a shortcut in that sense. By putting it upside down, you can actually make him stand up, because if you put it upright like this, he will not stand up for the life of him. They've also given him the actual silver and that on the shoes and that, which again, on the actual thing, they just left grey. I think they look slightly too shiny on this, to be honest. The silver finish and that. I do appreciate the silver finish, but yeah, they do look a little bit too shiny. Like they're actual metal rather than, you know, being actual shoes. But other than that, really nice. He does have the thing where he does not have any accessory, and that, which his hand is clearly sculpted gold. In fact, all of them are. Sonic is as well. But if we get a comparison with the other one and this one, yeah, you can really see the difference in it. I slightly prefer the expression on this one compared to that one, just because this one looks a bit more blank. This one, you know, I quite like the thumbs up on it. But what I was interested to see is this accessory is not removable on this one, unfortunately. However, I was curious to see, and we will see right now, actually, if I grab the right figure. Nope, I never grab the right figure first. I always grab the wrong figure first. But if we get the slightly larger Wild Brain Tails 9 figure, I'm just comparing to him, so yeah, again, it's a weird sort of in between. Let's see. Yeah, that's going to be too big to fit, unfortunately, so yeah, you can also see with this one they did it in grey, which at the time of reviewing it, I thought it wasn't too bad, but yeah, this matches it a lot better. I don't know why also they did it with this one and not with the smaller figure. Yeah, Wild Brain are just wild with their colours and lack of painting them. So yeah, now just before I go into the packaging for this, this set, depending on where you buy it, which again I'm going by UK prices because that's where I live, the price on this set, if you get it at Smith's Toys, which currently I haven't seen any Smith's Toys stock this yet, but if you get it from there, it's £22.99. And if you get it from Toy Entertainer, which is where I got it from, it's £25. Not as bad as how it was with the others, where it's a £3 difference. This was a £2 difference, which normally I wouldn't pay, but since literally I went in there and they had 3 of them, and none of the Smiths toys in my area did, I decided to pay the extra £2 to get it now. But anyway, if we move all these out the way, we can take a look at the packaging. At the bottom here, again, it's advertising and that, the articulation, and make a scene in that, which, yeah, I wonder if anyone will actually recreate any of the scenes, particularly with these smaller ones. The larger ones, fair enough, but yeah, it comes in this big, massive window box, and it is absolutely massive. You can see how massive and that this window box is. Huge amount of space in that in here. I imagine this box and the whole design of it will probably be reused with other sets and that as well. But yeah, the set in this, so if we go by the Smiths, we'll be charitable, if we go by the Smiths Toys price of $22.99. So yeah, now basically your standard 2.5-inch Sonic figure in the UK retails at £5.99 or £6 each. So yeah, with these, the 3 figures, it will be £18 plus the accessory. Normally a set like this would probably be in the about £20 really. And considering, you know, just the expense of this, and considering also how the Sonic movie 2.5-inch figure set was also, I think it was $22.99, I think, when it originally came out, and that had an extra figure and that with it as well as the B box. Just like the value of this is just like it's pushing it a little bit. I know prices for everything and that have gone up, but when other 2.5-inch Sonic figures waves still come out and they're still the same resale price, it does feel like, you know, unlike with the, say, 5-inch figures where you can kind of see the justification in the more expensive price, this kind of struggling a little bit more. Like, is this, you know, accessory worth the price of an extra figure, essentially? I don't know. I still don't regret getting this, but still, it is on the little bit of the pricier side than it maybe ought to afford to be, but still. Regardless, I still do really like this set, and I still do really highly recommend it. So, yeah, hopefully Jakks Pacific release more Sonic Prime figures than that at some point, so, yeah, there we go.